Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, now you can hear me. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Azure Rights Management session here at Ignite today. My name is Gagan Gulati. I lead the program management team for RMS, and I will use rights management and RMS interchangeably. They're both the same. Before I get started, a very quick show of hands for people who have heard about RMS before today. Oh, that's perfect. Thank you. People who have tried RMS at least once. Okay, good. Last question. How many of you saw the keynote yesterday for keynote demo yesterday where Brad Anderson showed document tracking? Wow, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so today in this next hour and 15 minutes, we will go through a bunch of functionality that we have built with Azure RMS, functionality that's coming, a bunch of things that are in preview today. At any point in time, if you have questions, just raise your hand. We have a couple of guys here in the purple shirts who will bring the mic to you. You don't have to wait till the end to ask your question. And it will be great to have a very interactive session with you guys. All right, so you know this slide really well, right? By now. Okay, so no photography, no copyright infringement, other stuff. Where do I point? Okay, so we recently ran a survey with around 313 top companies, 17 million seats, so around 50,000 users per company. And we asked them a bunch of questions. The first question we asked was, why do you seek to protect information? And the results were very familiar. The first category of results were all around saving yourself from leakage of data. If I, Gagan at Microsoft, send a document to Joe at Fabricam, if it's a really important document, in the email I will say, don't forward. If it's a very, very important document, I will say the same thing in red and bold, right? But you don't know what's going to happen. I trust Joe enough that I sent him the document, but I don't know where he's going to forward it further. Huge problem with organizations like Microsoft and others which work with thousands of partners and customers, and you want to send them NDA secret data, important confidential data. So that's one top category. We completely believe RMS can solve for you. The other top reason why customers want to protect the information is meeting compliance requirements. Any company in the world works with government organizations, defense sector, compliance requirements. Pretty clear. Confidential documents need to be encrypted at all times, whether in transit, at rest, or in motion. Right? It's very, very clear. And RMS is technology for you there as well. That's one big category. You can see that it's critical for companies to do that. The second big category we see this is no company wants their own Mr. Snowden and Mrs. Snowden to happen. Right? Pretty clear. In my company, I do not want malicious employees to get hold of critical data. If they you will today on your servers, on your file servers, you will ACL this data. Fine. But if they get hold of the data, because you know what, I had access to one of the file servers, I copied data, and unfortunately, I copied data to a non-ACLed or un-ACLed server. This Mr. Snowden can get access now to that data, right? So this is the second biggest issue that customers face today, which is preventing their confidential and secret documents from reaching those malicious hands. So this is one. Over the last couple of years, the RMS team, the Azure RMS team, is around 2 to 3 years old now. But in the last 3 years, the good thing for us has been that security is on top of mind for every customer we talk to. And we have conversed with more than 500, 600 customers who come to Microsoft for EBCs, executive briefings, or otherwise. And there are some key learnings that we have developed over the last few months from them. One, we talked about it, data privacy and protection essentially is often mandated and extremely important. Regulatory requirements are there. Number two, you guys know this really well. The perimeter is fading, the network perimeter. Gone are the days where you could take the floppy drive out or the CD drive out of the desktops, and you know that no employee can take the data home, right? You could glue the USB drives, and no data is going out. Those days are all gone. Everybody has a laptop, a mobile phone that they bring in, BYOD trends. These are these exist. What we are seeing more and more now is, one is the outsourcing trend, where when you outsource contracts to contractors and vendors, you actually are trusting them with very, very important data. Gone are the days where they will do peripheral stuff. Now they're doing very, very important stuff for your company because they are the experts in that. That's one trend. The second trend that customers are always concerned about is this virtual org or virtual room concept. I want to do an M&A, I have an acquisition to make or a merger to make, and there are a group of 25 people from all different segments coming together. Some from the company that's going to be acquired, some from my own company, legal, finance, you name it. The data that these 25 users share should just stay within those 25. They should be protected to those 25 and nobody else. Extremely important trend. Leakages happen and you know what happens after that. Key learning from our customers. And RMS is the perfect RMS is the perfect technology to use for this opportunity, and we'll demo some of that. The third one is around data leakage policies, data leak prevention policies, DLP. I'm sure you guys understand DLP. There are top companies that do DLP today. And the idea there is you classify the data, you find out regular expressions that your users use. For example, you can say Contoso confidential or Contoso secret. Whenever this happens, take a specific action. That's all fine, but when you use a DLP system, it's like taking a butterfly net out there in the garden and hoping you can catch all butterflies. You know why? Because you as the admin can only think of so many regular expressions or so many classifications. There is always one that you don't know about. So if the data is not encrypted when it's born and it leaves your organization and you could not control it with that butterfly net of yours, then this data is going away, it's going out. So data should be encrypted when it's born, when it's created. Like when somebody saves a file, encrypt it right there to the people who should have access to the data. That's a learning that we have heard from our customers, and we have built tools and user experiences around that. So that's number 3. Fourth one is very interesting. IT must reason over the data. When data is leaving an organization via Exchange, via SharePoint, via DLP system, via firewalls, you need to be able to read that data, right? So if a file is not encrypted, that's fine. You can read the data on the way out. You can take specific actions. A lot of our customers, have implemented S/MIME, PGP-like solutions. Cool. But when they came to us very, very quickly and saying, you know what we did? We deployed S/MIME and PGP, and the moment we did that, we went out of compliance. And why is that? Because if I am an employee of a company, Contoso, sending you, sir, the data, employee at Contoso, when I send you an S/MIME email, then I'm protecting it with my private key to your private key. So the conversation between us is between us. When the file leaves via firewall or any other source, the file cannot be decrypted now because nobody else has the private key but us guys. So I could be leaking a ton of data outside my company using a technology that my admin has given me. Wow. Suddenly I went out of compliance. That's number 4 for you. And this is exactly where RMS comes in. Because every piece of data in RMS, and we'll see it in the next slides, is protected to this master key owned by the company, right? All data is protected with master key. Therefore, even if the data is leaving my company through any of the various means you can think of, I can reason, the IT admin can reason over the data. That's number 4 for you. Number 5, big companies we talk to always come and tell us, hey, I have a Vision 2020. And that Vision 2020, I want a 10 out of 10 score in my security. And the only thing we tell them is, yes, love it. Every company has 2020. Microsoft has a Vision 2020. But don't wait till 2020 to come up with the number 10 out of 10. Work with us now. Pure RMS, just basic rights management can get you to a good 7. Work with Exchange, SharePoint, DLP solutions that integrate with RMS. You're already at an 8 or a 9. And this can be done today. Don't wait till 10. Stop, instead of poking holes into the few things that we don't do very well today, think about the things that you have in your organization and you are leaking like a sieve, essentially. Okay, the last one, very, very interesting, and this is one where nobody can beat a technology like Azure RMS. Peer-to-peer federation. I'm working on a project with a Contoso, working on a project with company Fabricam. We build federation between us. Great, works very well. Now, I have a bank to work with, so I want to federate with them as well. Fabricam will also federate with them. Have a 4th one partner coming in, 4 federations. So, and this will be, so I'll be federating with everybody and everybody else is federating with everybody, and soon, very soon, it goes out of hand. It doesn't work, right? So if I have an encryption technology where federation is required, it just doesn't work. If I have a virtual org-like concept, I'm not going to do federation with 20 different companies for just one small project and get my legal involved and everybody. There has to be a better way. And there is a better way. And that better way happens to be RMS. And I will take you through this. Oh, this worked now. But before I take you through the demos, I want to ask you guys is whether this slide is something. It works once, doesn't work the next time. This slide is something that you can resonate with. So we recently built this slide, put it into the deck, and we did this slide for a particular automotive company that's gung-ho on adding Azure RMS to their environment. And the slide used to say, let's pick the example of Daimler. Daimler needs to share CAD files between themselves and their partners, suppliers, dealers, representatives. One of the biggest scenario we are seeing in the automotive industry is the bidding scenario. My engineers have worked on a particular part or a particular design, unheard of, great innovation. It's now ready in my CAD system. But now I want to share it with the suppliers to get a bid. Guess what? That is the biggest point of leakage the moment I give it to my suppliers. Because you know what? The suppliers work with every automotive company. And they could forward it around. I'll have no idea. Right? So we built this slide for them, and they were extremely pleased with it. A few things we wrote for them. It's a busy slide, but I'll take you through each one of them one by one. I want to share this file between myself and my partners or suppliers via a storage-independent solution. Whether I put my files on SharePoint, we would love for you to do that. OneDrive for Business, that's where Microsoft come in. But if you want to put the file on Dropbox or Box, go ahead. You should be able to drop the file wherever you want, and it should be encrypted. And it should only be permitted to be opened by those people who are able to authenticate. Right? So if I were to share a file with Joe at Fabricam and Bob at Contoso, if I were doing that, then only those 2 people should be able to open this file and nobody else. And they should be able to authenticate without involving my IT. I don't want to go to my IT department and say, you know what, I'm working with Fabricam and Contoso. Can you add them as new users guest users to my AD? That's not the right way of doing things. So anybody who should be able to authenticate, the authorization policies are enforced. Now this is a difference between a simple basic encryption technology and where RMS comes in. If I were to encrypt something and send it over to you using any other technology, I will give you a password in a different email, right? Or I'll make you authenticate, but that's okay. But once you got the file, you can do anything with it, right? Where RMS comes in really is we can enforce these policies. If I were to send you a file in view only, then you should not be able to print, you should not be able to edit, you should not be able to save as, you should not be able to do anything else, and RMS provides that. If I send you a file and I say, you can view and you can print, but you cannot 3D print, right? In CAD drawings, that's the whole idea. I cannot 3D print. Okay, put it on a paper, no problem. But you cannot create the same part that I can. So an RMS allows that. The next one is powerful logging. If I were to send a file to Joe at Contoso, then it should be logged at the back end that I did this for auditing purposes, and my SIE, my SIEM systems should be able to do that. The fifth one is where the keynote demonstration happened. Is I, as an employee of a company, am the best judge of how important this file is and what's happening, and whether this file should continue to exist. So I should be able to track this file. And we will see the demo where if I send the file over to you, I can track when did you open, who opened this file, when did you open the file, from where did you open this file. And so all of that can be tracked. And then if I feel that this file was shared around, well, the other people cannot anyway open the file. They'll be denied access because only I was giving the file to you. But I'll have the ability to kill the file at any point in time. That's it. Once I click that kill/revoke, the file is bricked. Nobody else can open it. That's the power we believe should be in the hands of the user, not the IT admins of the company. Once, because they're already busy doing more important work, very, very importantly. And the second thing is, they may not know whether this file is, how important this file is. I may be sharing the most important trade secret of my company. I know about it, and I should be able to track and kill it. IT should be able to reason over the data. We talked about this for auditing, compliance, e-discovery, and others. The next one is very important from, now last three are very user-centric. If I were to share the file with Joe at Contoso, I don't know whether Joe at Contoso uses a Windows device. I have no idea. He may be opening it on an iPad or an Android device or Mac or a web. We don't know. So Joe should be able to open the document wherever he is, irrespective of the device he's using. You know why? Because if he cannot open this on his device of choice, he'll send me an email back saying, can you please send it to me unprotected? And the whole purpose is defeated. So we have availability of RMS open, the availability of RMS on all platforms. Free consumption to partners. If I paid for RMS, that's good. My company paid for RMS. My consumers, my partners should not be paying for RMS, right? They should just be able to sign into a system and open the file for free. Why should I tax my partners to buy the product? That's that. The last two are we today integrate with, so you can send the files with Office files, PDFs, CAT files, and text, images, videos, anything that you feel is confidential. You should be able to send it to your partners, your recipients, and they should be able to open the file. The same user experience should apply, and we integrate with every top system that's available on Earth already, or we are in the process of. Does this sound good? Like a lot of you guys are in the potentially are on the IT side of the house. If you had a system like this, you believe that you would give it to your employees? Okay, good. And this is basically the power of RMS. No other encryption protection technology even comes close. We built this slide specifically for a lot of our non-US customers. And the idea, okay, this is basically what's behind RMS. So let's assume I have a top secret cola formula. Well, the formula was water, brown color, and sugar, right? That's on the left-hand side. And I want to protect this file because I'm going to send it to my supplier. I can do it in many different ways. Exchange can do it for you. SharePoint can do it for you. You can use Office. You can use any of the technologies that exist, all of them using our SDK. But the important point is that this cola formula, when gets protected, it becomes this red file. And how does that happen? The first thing that happens is we create a unique AES symmetry key locally on the device. So if I'm on my iPhone and I want to protect a file, we create a unique key on the iPhone. And then we use a standard algorithms like AES encryption to take this key, take this document and protect it with this key. So it becomes red. Like that's the garble, goobly goob that you see in between. The next thing we do is we stretch the file just a little bit. So this is the red, and we stretch it just a little bit, and we add a new license on top of the file. What is this license? If I were to send a document to Joe at Contoso and give him view-only permissions, then this license contains Joe at Contoso has view-only permissions. Bob at Fabricam has view and edit permissions. That mapping exists in the license. And we take this key, and we put them together, and then we encrypt this with the master key, public master key of the company. So any company that deploys Azure RMS, the most important asset that they have is that asymmetric key, the master key that they have. The private copy of that, essentially, of course. So that you have to secure it. We have HSMs. You got to place it in the HSMs. We don't want to see that key at all. So it goes into hardware security modules that we have in the in the whole system. We never see your key. We don't want your key. But that's the key that can decrypt any of these used license. Therefore, can decrypt any of this document. Right? That's the whole idea. Okay. So we did that, and now this whole document is a single doc. Like if it was a docx file, you give it to, if you protect it and you send it out, it still is a docx file. If it's a PPT, it still is a PPT, just a little bit stretched and encrypted and use license in it, but it's still a doc file. So the user experience is he's just receiving an Office file. He's just receiving a PDF file. In the case of PDF, we make it a PPDF, protected PDF. CAD files become PCAD files. But the experience is, oh, I know, I've received an Office file. You click on it, and if you have the rights to open the file, you will open it. The important part I wanted to show you here was One, the process, but the most important part is this. The fact that file content was never sent to the RMS server. Microsoft never gets to see the file that you're encrypting. It was created on your iOS device or your Windows device. It got protected on your Windows device. The only thing we did was we were doing this key management of sending the use license up and down via the SDK. So today, any application that integrates with RMS, they integrate with our SDK. We ship SDKs on all important platforms, iOS, Android, Windows, Windows Phone, you name it. And we basically, any application that uses our SDK can do this work for us. So that's basically the story. That's the basis of it. We never see your content. We don't want to see your content. We only deal with this usage rights stuff. Who has access to what? This key that got generated here, and the private key that's kept in the HSM is very, very safe. We don't touch it. We can't touch it, essentially. It's sitting in hardware security modules. So that's the basics of how things work. And therefore, as Brad was mentioning yesterday in the keynote, this file is now self-contained. It knows about itself. So you can put this file on Dropbox, on Box, on FTP. It doesn't matter. When it goes to the other side, or let's assume it reaches malicious hands, the person double-clicks on this file. It'll first of all, a prompt will come up saying, give me your credentials. Okay, now, most of the time, people don't know what credentials to use. That's great for us. But let's assume you were an Office 365 user. You still got hold of this file. You put in your credentials. That's OK. We will then send these credentials to the RMS server along with these use rights. And we'll say, let's assume in this case, I had Ben at Smallco. Ben and Smallco's credentials went to the RMS server. And the RMS server looked at his credentials, compared it with the mapping, and said, well, Ben has no rights to this file. Only Joe and Bob had rights to this file. We sent back a message to Ben saying, you know what, you don't have rights to this file. And Ben can't do anything further. The file is still encrypted on the disk. Right? So that's the beauty, which is the file is now self-contained. It can go wherever it has to go. It can stay on your file servers. You don't have to ACL the file servers anymore. You should. I'm just saying that if you didn't want to, you don't have to, because every file is protected by itself to the rights it should have, the user should have on the file. Does it make sense? Okay, good. Oh, now it worked. So what I'm going to do next is spend just a couple of minutes on some important demos of what exists in Office 365 today with Exchange and SharePoint, and then we will very quickly also go through the cool new document tracking work that we started yesterday in the keynote. All right, so how do I do this? All right, so this is the first VM machine I'm logged in. Here, the user is Brad Anderson, Brad at my.org, essentially. And what I want to show you is, yep, here you go. Actually, forget about the fact that Brad is, this is the admin of the company who's logged into Office 365 admin portal. Very familiar? You guys have all seen it at least potentially once? Okay. So what's important here is, I'm not sure how much you can see, but in service settings, there is an option for rights management. All you have to do, if you are anyway familiar with ADRMS, the Active Directory RMS that existed as a Windows Server role, it was atrocious. The good news is I didn't work on that team. I can say that. I joined in. I was brought in to do Azure RMS, but that product took years to deploy. It was very, very hard to deploy, essentially. And it was hard because if you're a company with multiple different forests, then on every forest you need to deploy at least one instance. Okay, you'll make it redundant, so you'll deploy 2 or 3 servers, right? And then you'll have to do the same thing on every forest, connect them. It was a nightmare, a total nightmare. No wonder the product didn't get deployed as much as we wanted. Anyway, in the new world, if you are to enable rights management, all you have to do is to click Manage here. Okay, come on. And there is a single little click which says Activate. And the moment you click Activate, there you go. Well, it's activated now. You click Deactivate, it will deactivate. But that's how simple it is. Gone are the days that you have to build an architecture diagram and have different topologies on how you want to make this load balanced and everything. Those days are all gone. In the new world, all you have to do is to go to Office 365, service settings, rights management, and click activate. That's it. That's all it takes. So you still do have to do your planning on how you want to enable this. But you don't have to worry about the infrastructure because this is literally one button. That's it. The moment you say activate, what happens is the global company has now got RMS, right? We haven't enabled any of the workloads with RMS yet. That's the next step. But that's all it took to enable RMS in the company. So the next thing we will do once we have activated RMS is we will click on these advanced features. So what happens is when you activate RMS, we do some of the basic works for you. Like we create a few templates and other stuff. So when you click on activate advanced features, it brings you to this slide. Clicks on rights management, and you go in. So once you do that, what it's doing is it's going to show you the set of basic things, basic templates that you have in the company. In advance, I created a bunch of templates for us. By default, there are two templates that show up, confidential and confidential view only. What is the idea of a template? The idea of a template is pretty simple. You as the admin of your company should have the ability to create some predefined policies for your employees. So the idea is for your employees and for your services. So here is a simple idea. I have file servers, hundreds of them in my company, and there are terabytes and terabytes of data on those. I run a simple classification system. If you are familiar with file classification infrastructure, FCI, that's an example. An agent that just runs on your file servers and looks at every file and figures out whether what is the impact of this file. HBI, high business impact, medium business impact, or low business impact. And one of the examples is, if it's a HBI data, because you found out all the regex in there, then encrypt the file with RMS. But when you encrypt the file, apply a particular policy. One of the policies could be, in Microsoft case, could be Microsoft all employees read only, or Microsoft all employees full access to the file. I cannot decrypt the file, but I can print it, edit it, I can do a lot of stuff. If you know that the file server is specific to your HR department, okay, then the policy you will apply is Microsoft HR full access, and nobody else has access to the file, right? So that's an example of the kind of policies you can apply. So these are the admin's defined policies. One of the things we are asking our customers to do is to start applying the new set of templates, these ones, like internal, secret, confidential. The idea is HBI, secret data, MBI, confidential data, low business impact, internal data, right? And you can choose to apply templates according to that, so you can map it accordingly. I can create a new template. I'm not going to take you through all the steps, but you have the ability to create a new template. When you create a new template, you can choose the language, you can define the description, you can also choose to let me open up the demo template. You can apply what rights. For example, in this case, by default, you can say my whole company has a set of rights, or you can choose one of the features we have built recently is scope. The other we use is departmental templates. In the past, an admin could only apply these policies or build these policies for the whole company. So, example of Microsoft, 120,000 full-time employees, more than 200,000 employees plus vendors together. And the policies that I used to see, or I see even today, is 6-7 policies. Microsoft all, view only, view and edit, or view, edit, and print, or Microsoft FTE only. Now, that doesn't work very well if I were to only protect the data for Xbox employees. Or, Xbox coming up with the next version of Xbox One, call it Xbox 2 for a minute. But if you want to protect the Xbox 2 data, you don't want to use one of those existing policies. You want to create Xbox-specific templates, policies. So what we have done is we have a feature in preview right now where you can define the policies for your own departments. So legal gets a different set of templates than HR, then your different engineering departments or otherwise, which is really cool. And some of the admins on RMS today, they love it. That the ability to do that. If you click on scope, you'll see preview, but that's basically the idea. I can create such templates, and I can choose what groups I want. And for example, in this case, I only have one group, and I can scope this template for these. So if I am let's assume in Microsoft, if I am the Xbox group, I will only see the templates that I should be seeing in the Xbox group. The HR group, or the, let's assume in this case, the Windows group, will not see the templates that Xbox employees should have. And they can't open the documents that are protected with Xbox. Okay, so that's good. So that's the second story that we have. So all you did so far was click on that activate button, right? And rights management is an organization now. And I created a few templates if I wanted to. We create a simple 2 or 3 already, but if you wanted to go further, you'll do that. It's an extra step. It is an advanced step. The next thing you can do is you can go to SharePoint. Let's now enable 2 of the workloads that most organizations have today, SharePoint and Exchange, right? So you'll go to this very familiar SharePoint Admin Center, and it has a title saying Information Rights Management. So a lot of confusion between RMS and IRM, and I thought we'll take just a minute to clarify this. RMS is the base platform that enables Office, Windows, DLP systems, PDFs, and others, right? So that's the base platform, and that's what I'm talking about. IRM is an Office-specific layer, or the layer that Office has built on top of RMS. Different companies have done that. So that's the layer. SharePoint and Exchange are all Office. So that's why they call it SharePoint IRM, which is powered by the base platform that happens to be RMS. Right? Because RMS is more than just Office. Essentially, that's the idea. Okay, so if I'm in SharePoint, I will say, I will click this, which is use the IRM service specified in my configuration, or don't use. By default, it's don't use. I just did it for us. There you go. And now my SharePoint workload, and all I have to do is click submit, and now my SharePoint workload is ready for IRM. So I can go to any library in SharePoint. Like if you have thousands of libraries, just pick up those libraries that you really want to secure, the ones that your CXOs use, or the ones that they had all the important data. And there is a button there. Let me see if I can find, if I have that open. All you have to do is to say, make this library secured library. That's it. The moment you do that, all the documents coming out of that library are now RMS protected. That's all you had to do. So if you had, let's assume you were working on that virtual room project of 25 people. One second, sir, let me finish this. And if I'm working on this project of 25 people from all different companies or within my organization, I will make that library a secured library. So any document that comes out of the library is only protected to those people and nobody else. So if I were to download a document from there and share it with somebody who is not part of that virtual org, I can share it. That person can't open it. He will get an access denied error because he was not part of those 25 people. And it's as simple as that. That's all you did. You literally clicked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons, and you have RMS and SharePoint with RMS enabled in your company. Just works right out of the box. Sir, you had a question? All right, so in the meantime, I'm going to take you to the next one. This is Exchange Admin Center, but I'll let him ask a question. Yes, sir.
Okay. A simple question on SharePoint.
Yes.
I've noticed that once you download the document, then it gets encrypted, in fact, and it gets encrypted for the user that downloads the document.
Yes.
One problem is you can't apply a template at that moment, or am
correct.
I mistaken?
That's correct.
Will this be implemented in one point of time, or?
Yes, it will definitely be implemented at one point in time. That's the answer. That's the correct answer. We actually, SharePoint team, we work with them very closely. We are sister teams together, and they know this. And we are working together to make sure that the same templates, the RMS templates, flow to SharePoint, just like they flow to Exchange. So we absolutely want to make sure that happens. And that becomes very, very important because you could have these secured libraries for particular departments, like as you take the example, and that's where the templates become really, really interesting and important as well. But yes, absolutely understood feedback that we have from many, many customers.
And I suppose that the content ID, that we will be able to track it also then?
Yes. Okay. Yes, and I'll talk through tracking in a few minutes, but absolutely, all documents that get protected with RMS, you should be able to track them. Yes, sir.
How does that affect searchability if you're trying to search within the library?
Yeah. So the question is, how does this secure libraries affect searchability? Great question. So SharePoint works in the following way. And you may like it, you may not like it, but I'll tell you how the way it works. All documents in SharePoint, while they are in SharePoint, are not encrypted in the secured library. They're not encrypted in the library. So your indexing and searching just works fine. Now, But when the documents are brought out of the structured word into the unstructured word, the right set of policies get applied to the document and it gets encrypted. Now, a lot of customers say that's awesome because I can continue to index, I can continue to search, and it all just works fine. And when the document comes out of the structured repository, only then it gets encrypted in the unstructured word. A lot of customers, some customers tell us, well, that's not good. How can I trust SharePoint operators? The story is SharePoint, in SharePoint Online Word, runs on TDE, the transparent drive encryption. So rest assured, there is no document anywhere to be had because the document gets trashed into 50 different parts on different hard drives, so nobody can get hold of the document as such. So it's a secured mechanism. If you can trust SharePoint Online, which you should because of the TDE story that these guys have built, so no operator can get a hold of it, RMS just extends that with secure libraries. Sure, sir.
So if you have SharePoint on-prem, say SharePoint 2013 on-prem, I believe you can use, oh, it's not working.
It's okay. Say it and I'll talk about it.
So if you have SharePoint on-premise,
yes.
right, you have SharePoint 2013 on-prem, I believe you can still use Azure RMS for
yes.
that.
Yes.
But what about like some of the functionality, and especially like what you just talked about, that when you have a SharePoint library, essentially it's not encrypted at rest, it's encrypted when the document is accessed. So if there is, let's say if you have an extranet type scenario, and there is a penetration attempt, let's say if it's successful by an external entity, then documents are still vulnerable because they can still possibly get them en masse if they get admin to the box.
That's correct. So that's true. I mean, if the intruder can get into your network and your SharePoint farm, then in the SharePoint case specifically, yes, the documents are unprotected on the disk. Now, that doesn't mean you could not implement a policy or a plugin, especially when you're on-prem. You cannot implement a plugin that will protect the documents in your SharePoint by default. A lot of we have seen cases where customers have said, you know what, I need to protect this document with RMS even when they are on rest in SharePoint. And there are plugins available today via partners, essentially, that you can use that as soon as a document goes up into SharePoint. So I upload a document to SharePoint, it gets encrypted on the way in itself. And these guys are working to figure out how they can enable indexing and searching still. But the document is encrypted at rest as well, all the times. You can do this via a partner. It just doesn't exist by default.
And would that still use the same RMS API?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our SDK, with the partners, the SDK the partners use is the same SDK that gets used by SharePoint. It's the same story. Just 1 minute, sir. So the question is, OneDrive for Business does the same thing. The copy that comes down is already encrypted. That's correct. OneDrive for Business got updated with RMS very recently, a few months ago. Yes, sir.
Hi. Related question to the whole thing of where things are encrypted and when. Your example always assumes I'm the originator and I encrypt the data, and then I make it available to someone else, a file, and it's nicely protected then after transmit. What about me receiving a file and storing it in SharePoint? Will it then be stored, decrypted in SharePoint by default?
Yes. The idea is the way you should look at, and this is I mentioned
I'm not talking about the same organization. Sorry, I'm talking about, of course, different organizations sharing data.
But yeah, but the fact is the data is sitting on SharePoint, right? On somebody's SharePoint, in somebody's library. I think the way you should look at it is this. I completely agree with what you just said. The way you should look at it is there are two words that we live in: structured word and unstructured word. You need to secure your structured word, which is SharePoint or Exchange or any of your systems, via the way you can. So in your case, the file is still sitting in SharePoint and it's unencrypted. Only when you as a user take out this file, it'll be encrypted because the file is leaving
in this case, in my example, I'm the recipient of a protected file.
That's okay.
And then I choose to store it on a SharePoint site. On my internal SharePoint site.
Yes.
I would expect that it would still have the keys of my partner
Yes.
that I don't control, that my SharePoint
That's
sites
correct.
don't control, and so it wouldn't be decrypted.
That's perfect.
Okay, is that?
Yes,
is
that's
that
correct. So when for everybody else, just to make it simplified, if I receive an encrypted file from another company, now this file can only be opened by me and nobody else. That's understood. I can put this file anywhere I want. SharePoint, OneDrive for Business, OneDrive Box. Nobody else can open the file but me, and that includes my SharePoint, my company SharePoint, because it was protected by somebody else's company's SharePoint. Okay, very good.
I have a couple of questions.
One last question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a bunch of things to go through. Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a simple, very quick couple of questions. When you enable IRM on a SharePoint library, I assume that the RMS capability is enabled only RMS-enabled file types, not all the file types. Is that true?
Yes. The current story is that SharePoint will encrypt Office files, Office file types, and PDF file types. We are working with SharePoint very closely to make sure that you can open, or secure libraries can protect all file types, not just Office and PDF. So you drop in a text file or an image or a video or CAT file, it automatically gets encrypted. Because they use the base SDK that everybody else uses, all our partners use, they should be able to get the same functionality. The discussions are going on. We expect this to happen at some point.
So the second question is, when the document is taken offline, so the end user, even if they have the permissions to view the document, they can't view it if they don't have the internet access, right?
If they don't have internet access.
Yes.
That's the question on, yes, you're right. You as a recipient have to connect to the internet or thus to the RMS server to be able to open the file. Otherwise, we won't know who you are. We can't just give you access. Okay, so let me jump very quickly to email. Ma'am, I'll answer your question in a couple of minutes as I go through. So you can enable Exchange with RMS. There is a way to do that. Today, it's PowerShell way of enabling the Exchange workload with RMS. Couple very simple scripts you have to run. They're available. We hope that becomes a click of a button and sometime soon. But what I was going to show you is how you can enable Exchange to do some very, very cool stuff for you. So before I came to this meeting, I created this little mail flow rule. Essentially, I said, apply this rule if the subject or body includes the word confidential. Okay, so I can change it to Microsoft Confidential or Contoso Confidential or whatever. I can change this to be anything I want. If this happens, then apply this policy, which is confidential policy. Right? So the idea is you are an organization, you use Exchange 2013, 2010, or Exchange Online, doesn't matter, and you have enabled Azure RMS with it. When the files are moving through the system, if you ever find those keywords that you feel that you have, the governance of your organization says these are the keywords, which is Contoso Confidential. Whenever you see this keyword, then automatically encrypt the file on the way out. And the person now has to authenticate to the file and to the document to be able to open it. And that's a very, very simple way of doing things. We have seen so many customers who are in Exchange, on-prem, online, and you are using Azure RMS. The guidance to them is create those 3 rules, please. Create those 3 templates: secret, confidential, and internal, very, very quickly. And go to Exchange, enable IRM, the Exchange version of RMS, and create those 3 simple rules. If you see Contoso Confidential, apply this template. Contoso Secret, apply this template. Very, very simple. And all of this could be done literally. If I could do a demo to you in an hour, you could implement this in an hour. I mean, of course, there's thinking required, but thankfully there is no more code to be written. All right, so with that, we have covered a few basic demos for how Office 365 and RMS work together. Now I'm going to take you through the cooler stuff. Okay, I thought I created an email before I came in. Here you go. So here is the scenario that your users will love, and you want your users to use. Can you guys see the text there, or is it too small for you? Too small? Okay, so in this case, this is a mailbox of Brad Anderson at myorg.ms, and he is sending a document to Bob at your org, so a different company, okay? And he wants him to review the document. He knows the document is very, very important. In the previous word, as I said, you will make it red, bold. You could say, please don't forward to the rest of the word. But in the new word, you see this little add in there called Share Protected. This is an add-in that comes as part of the RMS application that we ship today on all platforms. Windows, iOS, Android, Mac, wherever you are, you'll find an application. Just go to the App Store, download it. On Windows, it does a lot of cool work. So we have created this. So if I were to send a document to, or Brad will send a document to Bob, he will click on Share Protected. Once he does that, a window will show up. Like this screen is discovering the files, and it basically says, how do you want to send the file to Bob? So in this case, we look at users. This is the same use rights concept. What users? That's Bob. What rights? Viewer, which is view only. Reviewer, which is view and edit. Co-author, view, edit, copy, print. Or co-owner, all permissions, including the capability to decrypt the file. Right? So these are the permissions that you have for Bob. Also, around the same time, Brad can choose to say, expire this document. So I will give, first of all, Brad will give Bob viewer access because Brad doesn't trust Bob enough. Our contract expires in the end of May, so I will make it expiry as 1st of June. So the idea here is, on 1st of June, if Bob tries to open the document, he will not be able to open the document. It gets automatically killed in the end of May. I have two other checkboxes here. One is email me when someone tries to open this doc. Whether the whosoever got the doc, now this is going over email. The emails will flow around. It gets forwarded. Whosoever attempts to open this doc, whether they were successful, which in this case is Bob, or anybody else who will be unsuccessful, I want to receive an email right away, a notification that the other person tried to open the doc. And then the last checkbox, which is allow me to instantly revoke access to this document, which is, the idea here is, as one gentleman was mentioning, was whenever I try to, in this case, whenever Bob tries to open the doc, he will be going to the internet, essentially, to receive a new license to open the doc. So we expect so if you had such an important doc, HBI documents, you should make sure that they have to hit the internet every time, so that you can, anytime you want, you can revoke the document. If you have a lower priority, lower business impact doc, it's okay to give offline caching to that person, for example, for 7 days. So for the next 7 days, once you open the doc, for the next 7 days, you don't have to come to me to ask permission, right? So you can choose, every company has the right to choose what kind of offline caching story they want to build. In this case, Brad wants complete control over the doc, so therefore he's going to say, yes, I want instant revocation on the doc. And as soon as he does that, he can now click send. Before I do that, I wanted to show you that the functionality you see in Outlook is also available in Word. So you don't have to come to Outlook, write this whole email, and do the thing. You can just click Share Protected in Word, and the same dialog will open up. You can write the recipient's name, and you can just send it from here. Well, guess what? This is only for Office. You can do the same thing for BMP files, the picture files. So you can right-click, and you can say Protect with RMS. We have built it into File Explorer. We are building it into every application that works with us. So the same functionality that you get in Office, you can get everywhere. I can protect it for any file and send it to the recipient of my choice. One of the demos I'll show you is with CAT files in a few minutes. Yes, sir?
The functionality is currently limited to non-personal email addresses. When is it expected to be available for Gmail or Hotmail addresses?
Good question. Yes. So the question is, you have used the RMS app before, and the functionality so far is limited to corporate addresses. If I were to send a document to Bob, Bob has to have a corporate email address. So Bob at your org, or pick one. So the question is, when would you make available the functionality where Bob could be a bob@gmail.com address, or outlook.com, or yahoo.com? So this is coming. We depend on Azure, so Azure RMS depends on Azure Active Directory for all its needs, right? We expect that Azure Active Directory will have social IDP, that's the term we use, social ID support over the next couple of months. Once they do that, we will add our support, which is changing all the applications and making sure all the infrastructure works. So 3, 4, 5 months at a maximum, but not farther than that. It will not be next calendar year. That has come up. The question is, how about taking this functionality to DevStack? We have had conversations with them. About this. or they have conversation with us about this. We believe we are reaching the point. One of the biggest burdens we have is the license that you see today is not the smallest. It's actually it's actually around 32 KB license that gets added to each file. So in general, if your file is 1 MB or more, like it doesn't matter. 32 KB means nothing. But if you want to protect line by line or have such scenarios, 32 KB is a lot of baggage to take along. One of the biggest improvements, which is after like n number of years of working on RMS, we are making now is reducing the license size from 32 KB to just a few KBs or even lesser, depending on the kind of things you want to put in the policy. So when that happens, we will open so many doors that other doors that haven't been opened so far, and that's the time we will engage back with them to add this functionality. But it'll happen. We understand this really well. Yes, sir.
Currently, the app is a manual interaction. Do you plan to make a scripting interface available? For example, if I have 100 docs in a file and I don't want my user to do it 100 times?
Yes. So the question is, what is your scripting story? Starting this week or next week, we are taking to GA our PowerShell commandlets. So a perfect example is classification infrastructure or DLP. Use the PowerShell commandlets, protect all your files on the file server. A couple of customers have come to us and said, wow, this is cool. Should I encrypt all my files? So a big healthcare company that we are working with who are in the process of deploying Azure RMS have said, governed by our regulatory requirements, we will encrypt all files till said not to do so. Right? So we will protect all files. And the way they will do it is by using our SDK or our PowerShell commandlets. This is very user-driven, what you're seeing right now. Okay, so going back, so you get the idea. I can protect any file and send it to anybody I want. Okay, here. Okay, so I'm going to, sorry about this. Share protect, and as soon as I do that, I'm going to send this file over to Bob with viewer permissions only. So when I click send, what's happening is this file is getting encrypted via our SDK. Special keys being generated, put it in the file, so only Bob will have access to this file and nobody else. And this file is now going to be sent to Bob. So we kind of automated that process, and Bob should, on the other machine, should be able to receive this file. So let's go to the other box. Okay, so this is Bob on the other one. I created the file already. The other file should be coming too soon as well. So Bob received 2 files. Well, I only sent him 1 file. How can he receive 2? What we did was, we not only encrypted the doc file that was sent, we also created a copy of the file. We also created a PDF copy of the file, and we protected it and made it docx.ppdf. So why did we do so? We did so for 2 reasons. One is Office apps on all platforms. Office today doesn't support RMS on all platforms. Office with, for example, on iOS and Android came out recently. So they are now in the process of adding RMS. They have made public statements on when this will happen. You will see some of this. But we believe in summer this year, so summer, in the July to September timeframe, Office plus RMS will be everywhere. But in the meantime, or even after that, not all your partners may have Office on their mobile clients. Not all your partners may have Office on their MacBooks. We have the RMS application that we provide on all platforms, this free application, very, very small. It has the ability to open this PDF file, right? So if you send it to a partner, in this case, let's assume Joe at Fabricam, they may not be an Office 365 customer. He may not have Office on his device, but he can download the RMS app very, very quickly and can open this PDF file, just like you would do with Office. So in this case, just to finish the demo, if I were to open this file, which was sent, then as you can see, I gave Bob view permissions only. I don't know if you can see that, but view is yes, and edit, copy, print is no. So if Bob at this point tries to take a screenshot, it will show up black. If Bob tries to share it over link with somebody, it will show up black. If Bob tries to print, there is no way to print. Bob tries to edit, save, he can't save. So Brad has now sent this super secret document to Bob, and this way. Now, of course, the first question that gets asked is, oh yeah, Bob can take his smartphone out and take a picture and go home. Correct. That's possible. We have seen customers who want to make sure this happens is they have added watermark support, right? Visible and invisible watermarking is available. Even Microsoft does that. So if you are a Microsoft customer and you have a sales representative, very soon he will send you, when he sends you a PowerPoint, it's NDA PowerPoint, it will be watermarked. It will have your email written all over it. And if you were to send it to somebody, you have to be really good at Photoshop to clean it up. And the question was, well, the customer may very well be a good Photoshop user, and we said, okay, we are seeing how we can invest in invisible watermarking. So even if you did the cleanup, we will still know who forwarded it to whom. So that functionality can be implemented in your company if you wanted to. Some of the big names, I won't take the names now, are actually implementing such functionalities right now by working with our partners to add watermark support and everything else that gets out. Somebody had a question? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, so we ship free RMS applications on all platforms that can open this PPDF. So let me click on this. So if you open this now, the application that's opening up is our RMS app, is our instance of RMS application that's not Office. And the same version of Office, the same Office file is now a PDF file. You have viewer access, and that's it. You have no edit, copy, and others. So it's freely available. Your partners can just download it and are good to go. Yes, so the question is, does FCI integrate with Azure RMS? The answer is yes. There are two ways to integrate. One is there is a connector, and I will share the detail with you. Basically the idea is FCI knows how to talk to AD RMS, the on-prem RMS that's built for it. But we have built a new connector, essentially a proxy that fools FCI, saying it's talking to AD RMS, but actually it's talking to Azure RMS. So it basically puts that. And we also have PowerShell commandlets. FCI can use that as well. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes. Good point. So this is what I was discussing previously. If you take this document, put it on in this case, your associate, he tries to open the document, doesn't have internet the first time. He's never opened a document before. He will not be able to open the document. We don't know who the user is. He has to come to us, authenticate. We want to make sure he has the right set of rights. If he's already opened the document once, and when you send the document over to him, you said, you know what? Yes, I will let him have an offline cache on the system for 7 days or 30 days, or you pick. You can pick that. Then if he's on plane, when he opens the document the next time, the second time, if the license is still valid, the offline license is still valid, he can open the doc on the plane. You can make it such that you can say never have any offline cache. It's too important for him to be able to open it offline. Then I want instant revocation, then don't give him that offline caching. Okay, so yes, sir, the last question before I move on. Yes, sir.
So let's say Bob encrypts a whole bunch of documents. Only, Bob leaves the company. Anybody.
Yes. Good point. So this is a question that always comes up. I, smart guy, protected all my documents with only to me and nobody else. What happens if I leave the company? Well, there's a concept of super user in RMS. The super user is a very privileged set of users. Actually, you can make it a group, and you can make sure that nobody has rights in the group, like nobody part of that. But that super user group can open any document. So in a company, like in Microsoft, if you were a super user, actually there's no one super user. Two people have to come together. One who has a document and who can put his password, the other guy who has to put his smart card in to be able to open the doc. So so you can implement the super user functionality the way you want and go further. Yes, sir. Last question, please.
What
yes.
is the difference between the super user group that you as an admin configure and the super users group that you have to use with Exchange, that Exchange is able to search inside RMS protected files?
Yeah, so the question is, what is the difference between the super user group that you in RMS can create or versus Exchange? It's the same super user group. The group, end of the day, is created on the RMS side of the house. Exchange is also a super user for RMS. So you can make Exchange super user of RMS, so Exchange can do e-discovery, archival, and everything, and it can decrypt journaling, it can decrypt all file. You can make any service a super user as you want, and we expect you to do it for DLP and other systems. I mean, if you could trust DLP system, yes, you should make them a super user. Yeah?
It's the same
It's the same, yes. Okay, so very quickly. So the question that one of the gentlemen asked was, if I were to share a document with somebody else, how does it work? But the important point is, if I were to share a document with you, you may be on Office 365, you may not be. What happens if you're not? How would you open my document? What rights, what authentication that you should use? Well, the way you should do it is this. If I were to send a document to Bob, and Bob does not have RMS, he can click on this page. It says, welcome to RMS, sign in here to get a free RMS account. And he can sign in here to get an account. So I am completely on-prem. Brad sent me the document. I'm Bob. My company is completely on-prem, has no Azure presence, has no Office 365 presence, has no Azure RMS presence. Bob can come to this page. He can give us his email ID, and he can sign up for free for RMS. Of course, we will not give him his company full RMS. That's a premium product. But we will give him enough such that he can open the document that was sent to him. And the idea there is simple. If you could not open this doc, if I could not open this doc, I will send an email back to Brad saying, okay, send me the unprotected copy. And we don't want that. So we built an entire system to be able to give you free Azure RMS. So very, very quickly, in this case, I will be Bob at Smallco. If I were that guy, I will try to log in, and I will say next. And it will say, I have sent a verification email to you, to Bob at Smallco, prove that you are in possession of the mailbox, so we can, and click on that verification email, and it'll bounce back. So for demo purposes, what we usually do is we have, and you can always do this yourself as you try, is Bob at Contoso. It skips the verification part. And you can click next. And now, imagine I click on the verification email, I come back here, it says, welcome Bob, give me your first name and last name, and your password. And that's all we require of you. So I put my first name, my last name, and I put a password. And if the company didn't exist, let's assume in this case Smallco didn't exist on Office 365 or on Azure AD, we will create a new company on Office 365, a viral company, and then we will add Bob at Contoso to that company, Contoso company, and we will give Bob a free license to RMS. And we do that, all of that, to make sure he can open the document that was sent to him by the other partner. Right? So that's basically the beauty of the system. No other data protection product in the market allows this today. If you were to, we have seen customers coming and saying we use a competitor or a competition product and others. The problem they have is, okay, it could work within the company, but B2B collaboration, which is actually the most critical ask of our customers, starts breaking very, very quickly because you have to go to your IT admin every time and say, can you add him as well? Can you add him as well? And then it becomes a nightmare. You have a long queue of people to be added before they can open the document. And everybody who gets added needs a new license, so you have to go to, we basically say it's free, it should be easy, there should be no friction in getting people to open the document that is sent to them.
Question, can IT admins revoke that access?
Revoke the access to?
For Bob to get to the document, maybe the original user shouldn't send it to Bob?
So there are a lot of things you can do. So the question is, what can you, the IT admin, do to make sure that Bob never even gets the doc? Yeah, you can do it on the firewall layer. Like that's the whole IT can reason over data, fundamental, right? When the document is being sent to Bob, it goes through your pipeline. It absolutely goes through your pipeline, most of the times, right? Yes, I could copy it on a USB and send it out. But if I'm in the network, via Exchange, via any of the mechanism, you should be able to reason over that file and say, oh, top secret data cannot go to my partner. Stop it right there. And you can build the functionality.
No, I'm talking about once it went out, can IT admin revoke the document?
Okay, so the question is, can the IT admin revoke the document just like a user can? Yes. In the fullness, well, yes today, via doing a few things, like you have to do extra work to do this. The portal that, the document tracking site that we have built is user-specific only. We hope that in the next 3 months, we will add enough such that you can log in as an admin, 3 to 6 months. You can log in as an admin, and you'll be able to search for any user. Show me the document that this user has shared, or show me all the documents by the name, super confidential. You get the idea. And you can start doing stuff. But the plan is to absolutely enable this for admin as well.
Last quick question. Are you going to be able to tie it to your record center in the SharePoint or Exchange?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, so once Bob has been able to, can log in, he can download the application of his choice, depending on the platform he's on, the RMS app, and he can open this PDF file even if it doesn't have Office on that particular platform, right? So for example, if I go to Android here, just for fun, 1 second, sir, I'll answer your question. If you go to Android here, you can see our application exists there. You can download the application on your Android tablet or your phone, and play.google is slower. Good. I don't mind that. And then you can just okay, here you go. But you can just download the application from there, and you can open this PDF file that you have received on your Android device. Similarly, you can do the same thing on iPad, wherever you are, doesn't matter. We have an app for that.
Right. What happens if Bob registered for the free RMS, and then his company decides that they want to use it?
Good question. Very good point. So in this case, what happens is Bob at Contoso signs up for free, no problem. At some time, his company decides, we want to get Office 365/RMS as well. So the company will do its regular stuff. They will go to Office 365. They will create an Azure Active Directory. They will sync their users, or AD connect their users in the new word. All of that will happen. The only change for Bob is that if he created a different password previously, now the next time he logs in, he will have to use his own password. The password he uses is incorporated. It's extremely, and we have seen the companies doing that, where a bunch of employees have been using Azure RMS virally, like this system, and the company comes in, the admin scoops the tenant up, and now it becomes an Office 365 tenant. No problem. They just continue to use it the way they are. They don't have to change anything for themselves. And the good thing is, if you're federated, then you don't even have to log in anymore. It just works. Yes, sir.
So if I'm John from Smallco,
yeah,
what prevents me from claiming that I'm Bob at contoso.com at that site where you sign up?
You have to verify the email. The verification will go to your mailbox.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
That's the standard way of verification. Okay, so let's see what happens now that Bob has opened the document. This is the doc tracking portal that was part of the doc tracking site demo that was part of the keynote. Okay, I'll have to sign in. Good point. So far, whatever you have seen, everything that you have seen so far is part is available today as part of Office 365 E3 SKU or E4 SKU, and just enable it. If you do not have Office E3 or E4 SKU, you have even E2, or you're completely on-prem company, then you can buy Azure RMS standalone, and you could use that. You could subscribe to Azure RMS standalone or the EMS SKU. It's just part of EMS SKU. So the question is, you don't need Azure AD subscription? When you subscribe to Office 365 E3 E4 SKU, you have Azure AD Basic. If you subscribe to Azure RMS only, you still have Azure AD Basic. Okay. Yes. And that's what I was going to show you. The first difference so E3, E4, everything I showed you so far is part of Office 365 E3, E4. The document tracking portal, document tracking site, sorry, I'm being asked not to use the word portal, document tracking site that you will see next, when it goes into GA in summer, it will not be part of E3, Office E3, Office 365 E3. You will have to have subscribed to Azure RMS Premium for this. Azure RMS Premium or EMS, essentially. Azure RMS Premium is part of EMS. The document tracking site is part of the EMS subscription or Office 365 subscription. Okay, so here we come. So let's take a look at the document tracking site. Brad had shared the document with Bob, right? When he clicks on track here in the email, very quickly, he clicks on here, he is brought to this page. This is all working live. You can, by the way, in preview, you do not have to have the Azure RMS Premium subscription. You can just go try it yourself. Go create a free tenant if you don't have one for Office 365. Go create a free tenant and just use this functionality. Try sending documents to somebody inside or outside, and you can track all of that today. You don't, only at GA in summer would you have to move to a premium SKU. So in this case, Brad sent the document over to Bob. Bob opened it. When Bob opened it, and Brad comes to this page, he sees the summary. The summary is pretty clear. The document was shared on 4th of May. Expires never. In this case, I did never expire. You can make it to expiry to whatever you want. The second column here is 2 views Bob opened it twice, so 2 views for that. No denied users. However, this is important. If Bob had shared it with somebody else, let's assume Mia at another company, and Mia tried to open the doc, Mia will show up as a denied user, right? This is the base RMS functionality. Okay, so very quickly we'll go to the other views. List view, it shows, actually, you know what? Instead of showing it for this user, let me show you for a different user. Here, okay. So if I clicked on all documents, the one on top, I will be shown all the documents that I've ever shared. Let me zoom in a bit. Okay, can you guys see that now? Okay, so here is the list of all the documents that I have shared with other people, in my company or outside. I will open up Q1 quarterly reports that oops, this is revoked, sorry. Let's go back one more time and open up move cost estimates. Okay, so this document I shared on April 23rd and it expires in 1 year. The date is June 21st, 2016. 13 users have opened this document 40 times. And I have a list of all the users here. 1 user was denied 9 times. Wow, this guy has been trying. Brian Swan, I right away know, I never shared with Brian Swan. Who is this guy? He somehow got a hold of this document and he's been trying incessantly from all different places, I'm sure, to open this doc. But he could never open a doc. That's RMS for you. I can now go and take a look at this via the list view. This is the standard list view of all the users. And we can see Brian is denied access. Timeline view, this becomes really interesting. We've seen a lot of use cases coming in where our customers said, this is cool. I want to see detailed view. So we built this where you click on this particular date and you see Brian was denied access so many times on that particular day. Map view. Now this makes a lot of our customers very, very happy because now I can see who's opening the doc at what point in time from where. This is the where. I see that my team is spread around the world. I have all our geographies, but there is nobody in China. I don't know anybody working from China. I go into China. I keep going, and I figure out that somewhere around Beijing, somebody has been trying to open doc. Guess who? Brian. Brian tried 4 different times on that day to try to open a document from there. I have no idea who the guy is. I don't like it. I will kill the document. So I have the capability to now just simply click revoke. And the moment I click revoke, because I had said ability to revoke instantly, right after this point, nobody else can open the doc. Because whenever somebody tries to open the doc, he comes back to the RMS server. And the RMS server now knows the document is gone.
And you said the same capabilities will be available to admins?
Yes. Once we have this in GA, the next thing we want to add is for admins to be able to log in as any user if you want to use that word. But you get the idea. He can basically say, show me the document for this particular user and kill any document from there. Yes. So on this page, you can just click confirm if you didn't want to go deeper, add any more functionality. 1 minute, ma'am. And that's it. The document is now revoked. Nobody else can open this document. Really, really cool. When we showed it to our customers the first time as a prototype, they said, you know what, this is a super awesome version control system. So I'm a construction company. I am sharing a document with my field staff because they're pouring concrete for a bridge, and the concrete is supposed to go here. Change my mind, version 2 come out, the concrete is supposed to be going here. Kill the document. That's cool, but I want to notify all my recipients with a particular message. And the message is, hey, stop using the doc, use the next version. And the next version link is over here. So we started as a document tracking and revocation capability. Customers are already saying this is a document management capability, not just tracking and revocation. So really, really cool stuff here. Yes, ma'am, you had a question?
What happens if somebody is right in this moment editing the document and working hard on it and maybe hasn't saved it yet and you kill the document?
Yeah, so if the document is already open, very good point. If the document is already open while you are revoking it, then yes, he's contributing at the moment. If he's making if he's saving it local, till the document is closed and he opens it the next time, the document is not killed. Does that make sense? The document will be active for him, for that particular user.
Okay.
Yep.
Killing is blocked for him.
Yeah, he's already opened the document. He's got the license. He's working on it. He can save it, but the next time he tries to open the same doc, he won't be able to open it. Yeah. Yes. So the question is, would it be integrated with machine learning? We are already talking to a bunch of teams internally who have said, today we only have one decision point, just to make it broader. And decision point is, does this user have access to this file? And it was written in the license when it got created. Now imagine the new word, which we will enable very soon, is, that's okay, you have said that, but a lot of other factors come along. For example, is this user in the right geography? Is this user incorporate? If this user had taken a particular training so that he can open the doc, all of that functionality will vary. We are working with the right teams to ensure that decision point is changed. It is not just who is the user, but what are the characteristics of the user. Okay, so this is basically document tracking for you. Let me show you one other demo that you'll really, really like. So far, the functionality we have talked about is at the file level, the whole file. I want to encrypt the whole file and I want to send it to somebody else. What I'm going to show you next is protecting a document not at the file level, but actually at the text level. Like for example, here's a perfect example. Let's assume this is a document I wanted to share with my legal team or other. But I also want to send it to my engineers too, right? Because they have the right to see this document. The only thing they shouldn't be or let's assume the concept of finance. The only thing my engineers shouldn't see is the cost. They should be able to see everything else. We did this very, very recently internally in the company. So I will do this. So what we have done is we have worked with a company called Foxit. Not sure how many of you have heard of them. Okay, yeah, Foxit PDF Reader. They're working with us, and we have created this super cool functionality. We are given it the name of redaction. So the art of redacting files. I will show you a demo, but you can think about a very different use case. Healthcare. As I am doing research, clinical research. I have thousands of records with me. I want to see all of those records as a clinical researcher. The only thing I should not be knowing about is the user name and his SSN number and some of the characteristics. Imagine the fact that I actually sent you those 1,000 PDFs, but I was able to redact just this part of it, the top part. Everything else you should be able to see because you're doing the research. You want to make sure the numbers are right. So we have seen so many use cases. Customers are so gung-ho over this. So let's assume in this case, I want to redact all the cost. So I will take the first cost. I will mark it for redaction. This is redacted. I'll show you the power of this in a minute. So these are the 3 fields I wanted to redact. I did that. And now I say, create me a redacted PDF, please. So I click on redacted, and I want to protect it with a template. So let's assume I chose confidential template. Sure, save the file. So I'm saving the file. I'm going to overwrite it. I was doing this demo myself. Oops, okay. Oh, this is because this was opened. All right, that's fine. So all it does is says, take this Word file, and I will create a PDF out of it. Sure. So at this point in time, the Word file, as it existed with this redacted copy, is converted into a PDF. And we take this and we open it in Foxit PDF. So this is the view your unauthorized users will get. They will see the whole file, but the redacted copy. So in this case, let's assume, for giggles, I go to the folder where this file was placed. I click on redacted, open it in Adobe Reader, in this view, in preview, or in Microsoft Reader. Any application, PDF application that's not RMS enabled, or a user doesn't have the rights to this file, they will see this view. The only thing they shouldn't see is the dollars behind the black copy. You can search it, you can index it. It takes it to a whole new level. It's just not file level now; it's character level. And now, if you have full access to this file, which in this case this user has because he was the owner, he will see this little dialog here which says, okay, I find view the full content. And when you click on view the full content, the user is authenticated and he can see the whole story. How did it work? This is all very magical, right? But the way it works is, in the new Word, when this file gets created, we take the PDF and we put 2 streams into the PDF. In the front is the stream, which is the unprotected copy with the black text and everything. And in the back is the protected version that's only available to authenticated user. So when Windows Indexer, SharePoint Indexer, Search, applications, they only see the top version. They see the black file. Now you can put this file anywhere you want. And you can make people read this file without going through the important text that you want to protect. Only people who have authenticated to it should be able to see the file in the back. And this functionality is available in preview today. And you guys can try it for free. And we have worked with some very generous terms with Foxit on this one. Available for you for up to 90 days or more for your user. Okay, I think I have to do this. Yeah. Good point. Yes. Correct. Good point. So the question is, what you showed me is a user-driven redaction. Where I go in specifically and do stuff. Can I do a lot more? Can I generate it automatically? That's exactly the point. What you're seeing here is phase 1 preview. We're just testing out, patenting it, testing out the borders, making sure it's all good. The first version that will come out is user-driven. That's for sure. This is a preview. What you'll see next after this is our RMS apps. You don't have to buy Foxit readers, deploy Foxit readers to be able to open these files. You'll have to engage with them for creation of these because that's specific functionality. But the reading functionality will come into our RMS apps, right? So you don't have to deploy the Foxit reader everywhere. You just can use the RMS apps and it's good to go. First version, user-driven. The next phase that we will work with Foxit on is to create this automated protectors where they can understand some specific patterns. Regex is a good example, or you can say this rectangle on top of every PDF. That's it. I always want this redacted. So we will work with them on all of these. Your feedback is very, very welcome. You can work with us directly or with Foxit as you want, and we can implement a lot of these. The question is, any chance of supporting Acrobat? We absolutely want to. The conversations are going on. The little caveat there, of course, you can understand is Acrobat. Adobe already has a competing product to us. That has been, they always look at it as competing with their own revenue stream. But there are conversations going on. Some of the functionality I couldn't show, we're running out of time, is RMS is now going to be built into Windows 10 by default. If you have ever heard of this new functionality called Windows EDP or Enterprise Data Protection, okay, good. If you ever heard of that, that uses RMS at its core. Any data, any file, actually, you know what? Now that we're talking about it, I should just take you through it. Let me see if I can take you through this one particular slide, which you will really like. So the idea is, if I'm on Windows 10 here, and I have EDP in the EDP scenario, any file that is in the enterprise context, right, that's tagged as enterprise file, is going to be encrypted on the disk. In the old days, it was called EFS, right? You can do it. But now imagine that happening automatically, where any file that's tagged as business file or enterprise file will now be encrypted on disk. But these files will move across, right? I mean, these files will leave. Data is created to be shared. So this file will roam from my device, my Windows 10 device, to my other Windows devices. Right? So when this file leaves my device, because it's being roamed via OneDrive for Business, OneDrive or others, it will be RMS protected on the way out. We have built RMS into the system such that on the exit, we use the word egress. On egress from Windows 10, the file will be transformed into an RMS encrypted file on the way out. And wherever it goes, it's now RMS encrypted. So when you deploy Windows 10 in your organizations and you deploy EDP with RMS, rest assured, Windows 10 itself will act as DLP. Now, they don't like us using that word, but they are doing data leakage prevention from Windows 10 devices. And all of these files will automatically be RMS encrypted on the way out. If it reaches another Windows 10 device, my Windows 10 device, in the case of roaming, the protection will be taken off and you'll see the nice view. But if I was sharing this file via Outlook, let's assume, to other users, in the demos I showed you where I had to take a specific action to click on Share Protected, in the Windows 10 world with the new Office and new Outlook, when the files are leaving my Windows 10 device with Outlook, all of these files, if they're enterprise tagged, will automatically be RMS encrypted. You don't have to take any action. It just happens for you. Like Exchange could do it for you, Windows 10 will be able to do it for you with Outlook. So that's the beauty. That's where RMS is going. It is just not about your services. It's just not about user taking action. It's about building into Windows 10 and making sure that all files are now, important files are now going to be RMS encrypted on the way out. Yes, sir?
Will you eventually give us the ability to maybe install a client on other platforms to get that same feature?
Yeah, so the question is, would this functionality be available on other platforms as well? There's a long-term vision. And the long-term vision is, of course, part of Microsoft. Windows will always get the best functionality. But Office exists everywhere. RMS exists everywhere. Therefore, between Office, Intune, and RMS, you should be able to get the same functionality irrespective of the device you're on. Yes, absolutely. We want to make sure is my fullness of time. If you are using the latest technologies, then your data is always secure when it's on the device and when it's leaving the device. Absolutely, yes. I think with that, the only other demo I wanted to show you, I know we're running out of time here, is the Siemens demo. And this was, very quickly, I can mention this to you. So let's assume the case, this is all about RMS beyond Office, right? In the old world, whenever you use the word RMS, it was always about Windows and Office. So we have done two parts. We have said it's not just about Windows. You can support it on all platforms that you have in your organization. And the second thing is, in an organization, 50% of your docs are Office docs, important docs are Office docs. You understand. But the rest 50% are PDFs, very, very important. There's a lot of your confidential data, CAD files, images, videos, and everything else. And today, with RMS, we have a solution for all of that. In some of these cases, we have to work with other applications. An example is CAD files. In the automotive industry, manufacturing, construction, CAD are some of your most valuable assets. So we have worked with Siemens, and we have been able to, we have worked with Siemens, and we have been able to work to implement RMS into the Siemens systems itself. Let's take the example here. There is a concept of, there is a file type that is being used called JT file, right? So here is the JT file. I've kept it here for the demo for you. This is a PDF version of a CAD file, okay? So just like I can take a Word file and I can convert it into PDF, and the PDF cannot be touched now and edited now. Similarly, in the CAD Word, there is a file called .jt file, which is like the PDF. It can open in the JT2Go application that exists today on Windows and other platforms as well. So here is an example of such a JT file, right? So it's a VM, so I'm sure it's slow for you. But you get the point. You can turn it around, you can do stuff with it. And this is the file that goes out in the bidding process. This is the file that goes out. If I were to create this spark plug, this is a saw, I believe. If I were to send it out and I wanted bids from my suppliers, you will send this file out. And you don't want the other the suppliers to be forwarding these files. What do? Simple process. Just like you were able to do this for Office, where you went into Office file, when you went into Outlook and did this, you can do the same thing for JT. Create a new email, attach a JT file, go to Share Protected, and click Send. And that's it. The JT file becomes a PJT file with the same set of rights that you could apply for Office files. The same example, you could do this from Explorer as well, just like you could do it from Outlook. So let's assume I did this. I sent it to my partner. So in this case, I'm going to show you what I did, Gagan at Microsoft, send it to Brad at the other company. If this is a JT file, let me show you two JT files. One is a JT file that I forwarded to Brad. Brad didn't have rights for it. So in this new world, which was never possible before, when Brad tried to open this other JT file that was forwarded to him, just like Office, he will be able to get an access denied because he didn't have access to this file. Never possible in the previous world. Come on. All right. I can probably say you have to believe me on this one. But anyway, so the idea here is that this is a JT file we didn't have access at all. And here is the other JT file. Let me see if I can at least get get us to open this file. This is the file where he will have access to the file. And what we have done is, we have taken the JT file, we created a PJT out of it, stretched it a little bit, add a use rights, And this is the one where you should have access. There you go. So Gagan at Microsoft sent a file to Brad at my org, and I gave him view access only. No print, no copy, no edit. Just the way you could do it for PDFs, that you could do it for Office, you can now do it for CAD files. This is Siemens application live in App Store right now, available today. We did it with Siemens. Next is to go work with Autodesk and Dassault and all the leaders in the CAD world. We do this for them. We move to the next file type. We finish that, we move to the next file type. The idea is that in the next couple of years, you guys should deploy it right now, but in the next couple of years, this functionality should be available for all your ecosystem, irrespective of the industry you guys are in. Okay, cool. So, because I had view access, I can still turn it around and other stuff. All right, so I think I've covered pretty much everything. I know we pretty much ran out of time. The last slide is the Office file format, because this comes up pretty much every time. If you have any interest in knowing when is Office going to go live with RMS on other platforms, here is the story. It's available as a blog as well, so you guys can take a look at that. But Office on iPad and iPhone in summer 2015, I have it on my iPad at home, where I have Office and IRM. So it's already working. We know that it's just coming in pretty soon. If any of you have tried the new Office Mac 2016, RMS is already built in, so you guys should enjoy that. Office for Android, that support will happen in a little bit more time. But yeah, everywhere else, like when Windows 10 comes out, we are built into Windows 10, so of course we expect Outlook to just work, Office to work, so that'll happen. And Outlook will soon have RMS as well. So it's rest assured that as you guys deploy Office 365 in organizations, we absolutely expect you to deploy RMS, and it should just work with all the existing applications and ecosystem that you have.